I'll just bring you a couple of things. We understand from BFM, a French news website, that the gunman who is now believed to be holed up inside the Super U supermarket in Trèbes is demanding the release of Salah Abdeslam. Now, he was one of the November 2015 terrorist attackers who mounted a series of assaults on Paris, including that terrible attack on the Bataclan Theatre. I believe Salah Abdeslam is held in Belgium, but the attacker today in the supermarket in Trèbes in the southwest of France appears to be demanding the release of that prisoner. Of course, the French authorities have not given a specific response to that. We also have a little detail, a really rather horrifying detail from the mayor, who has said that he has heard local people describe how the gunman entered the Super U supermarket screaming Allahu Akbar, which of course Arabic for God is great, God is greatest, and also saying, I will kill you all. So it clearly was a terribly frightening, horrifying experience for the people inside that supermarket, though it has to be said, as we understand it, most of those inside did manage to escape. Now, we're joined by the BBC's Hélène Dauphard, who has been monitoring French media and social media sites over the last couple of hours for updates and developments on the situation in Trèbes. So, Hélène, what can you tell us?
Well, so now we're kind of hearing a bit more and more kind of details coming out. So apparently the first attack happened at 10:15 this morning, when we had these 4 military CRS, doing some training, jogging, coming back, from this training, and then a car approached them and started shooting at them, and one of them got wounded. Then this man drove to Trèbes and then parked his car on the supermarket of the Super U that we see now, and entered, saying Allahu Akbar. And that's what we know so far. Now the French, newspapers and televisions are reporting that they are pretty sure it's at least 2 wounded, if not dead.
There are mixed reports there, aren't there?
Yes, exactly. And so it's quite tricky to know exactly, obviously, what's happening. Now the whole city of Trèbes is completely on lockdown. People can't even enter. We just heard a woman on television in France now saying, I can't even go and get my children from school because they have completely blocked all the roads that enter the city, and they're asking people, please let us do our job. We need to sort this situation. And
one important thing, if I may, Hélène, our correspondent in Paris, Hugh Schofield, was saying that he'd seen media reporting suggesting that the man inside, the attacker inside the Super U, now no longer held any hostages. What was the latest you're seeing? Yes, that's the very
latest. So that's why, it's kind of evolving by the minute. The very latest is that he would be the only one left in the supermarket now, and he's apparently now, I've just heard, as I was getting ready, that he's asking for Abdeslam to be released.
Yes.
So that's a very new. Now I've heard as well, this is unconfirmed, but that he has been basically. First, they were saying that the intelligence agencies didn't know about him. And now there are reports saying that actually we knew about this guy, and so that's probably going to come out now. Who is the attacker? That's going to be the next step, I guess, in the next few hours, I guess.
As we see these pictures, and goodness, if you've been watching for some time, you'll be getting perhaps a little tired of the same old pictures of the gendarmes outside of the area that, as you say, Hélène, is cordoned off. But as we've been looking at these pictures, we've also sort of heard reports that a very, very major anti-terror response has been activated, including specialist forces. Anything that you've seen on French media giving us a sense of the scale of the operation?
Yes, they say it's about 200 cars and, wagons of policemen. Obviously, this is something that I don't know if the UK audience or world audience would realize, but in France, since the Paris attack, really this has massively scaled up. You know, we were obviously on a state of emergency for a very long time. You had preparations from the police, from schools, from companies that would like prepare exercise of confinement, how to deal with these situations. So obviously it's not so much of a surprise that we have a very big reaction, even though it's in a tiny village near Carcassonne.
One thing that strikes me as interesting, you say, and I've seen it reported several places, that the attacker has demanded the release of this individual, Salah Abdeslam, who is imprisoned as a result of his involvement in the Paris November 2015 attacks. It would if he's making these sorts of demands, it suggests there is a means of communication with the police. Do we know if that's by if there's been telephone contact, or how else could this communication be conducted?
Well, I guess, you know, what they are trying now, they were trying to obviously have a conversation with the attacker in the supermarket. We don't know obviously exactly to which level they had managed to kind of access him, but obviously if now we're hearing that everyone else has left the supermarket, they must have probably managed to discuss an exit for the hostages. This is all staying under wraps, obviously, and I even saw on Twitter the French police saying, please don't share anything that could, you know, have an impact and counteract, you know, our work. So, and I think French people are now very aware of that you don't want to spread any rumors, because then it could play against the police work.
No.